Hi, and welcome back to Ukraine, the dark and light. It's pretty clear Putin has no intention to bring about a ceasefire, let alone conclude the war. During a meeting with military leadership, Putin claimed that Russian forces hold the strategic initiative and ordered the continuation of combat operations according to the plan. Gerasimov reported advances in Sumy and near Vovchansk, control over parts of Kostiantynivka, and the capture of Kurilivka, Kucherivka, and Siversk. Putin praised the army's performance and said progress in Donbas and Novorossiya is on track. Zelensky. Today in the Kupyansk direction, our soldiers are achieving results for Ukraine. Many Russians have talked about Kupyansk. I was there. I congratulated the guys. Thank you to every unit, everyone who is fighting here, everyone who is destroying the occupier. Today, it is extremely important to achieve results at the front so that Ukraine can achieve results in diplomacy. This is how it works. All our strong positions inside the country are strong positions in the conversation about ending the war. Zelensky's statement has been backed up by Deep State Monitoring Group. More than 200 Russians are surrounded in Kupyansk, according to NGU Kartia. From the beginning of the operation from September 22nd to December 12th, 1,027 occupiers were killed, 291 were wounded, and 13 were captured. Now to some amazing Ukrainian drone footage. An An-26 transport aircraft and 2 radars in Crimea burned down in another expensive night for the Muscovites. The GUR also successfully hit 2 expensive radar systems, the 55ZH-6M Nebo-M radar and the 64N6E radar. Now some footage from the front line. 2 Russian soldiers voluntarily surrendered to soldiers of South Group near Novodanylivka in the Zaporizhzhia region. 12 Russians surrendered in this area in the past 24 hours. Ukrainian drones struck Russia's Slavneft-Yanos oil refinery in Yaroslavl overnight, one of the country's largest, processing over 15 million tons of oil annually. The strike triggered multiple explosions and a major fire. The FSB has cordoned off the site while traffic in Yaroslavl hit a near standstill. Now, a military aid update. Air defense systems, ammunition, and critical spare parts. Ukraine will receive military equipment from U.S. warehouses worth about $5 billion by the end of the year through the PRL program. Funding will be provided by allies from the EU and Canada, as well as Australia and New Zealand, as reported by the NATO Deputy Secretary. Next up, a fire is reported near TPP-2 thermal power plant in Tyumen, Russia, likely involving a fuel oil, mazout storage tank. Mazout is used as boiler fuel to power turbines and generate heat and electricity, especially when the main fuel is unavailable or during peak load demands. As of Friday the 12th of December, it is clear that an explosion occurred at the Orsk Mechanical Plant, which produces components for Russia's military-industrial complex. The cause is unknown, but one can guess. The EU aims to agree by Friday on a long-term freeze of Russian central bank assets, a major legal shift that would remove the need to renew the freeze every 6 months. This would block veto threats from Hungary or Slovakia and pave the way for using the 210 billion euros as collateral for loans to Ukraine. Belgium, holding 185 billion euros, remains cautious due to legal risks, but the EU is preparing guarantees to protect it from Russian lawsuits. The freeze would stay until there's no immediate threat to the EU's economic interests. A key vote is expected at the December 18th summit. It has been confirmed by the SSO, together with the rebel movement Chernaya Iskra, conducted an operation in the Caspian Sea, hitting 2 Russian ships near Kalmykia that were transporting weapons. The rebels provided intelligence on the route and cargo. The ships, Compositor Rachmaninov and Askar Sarija, which are used by the Russian Federation for military purposes and are under U.S. sanctions, were hit. Russian presidential aide Yuri Ushakov stated that Moscow has not yet seen the revised U.S. peace plan for Ukraine, following Washington's consultations with Kyiv and European partners. He emphasized that Russia may strongly oppose elements of the updated version, suggesting that the revisions could be unfavorable to Moscow. A headline from Le Monde claims, Ukraine is ready to accept a demilitarized zone in the Donbas, framed as a major concession to end the war. The article refers to Ukrainian negotiator Mikhailo Podolyak's description of a proposal in which both Ukrainian and Russian forces would pull back from the current front line and a demilitarized area would be overseen by an international force. However, this portrayal is misleading without context. Zelensky and Ukrainian officials have made it clear that Kyiv cannot accept any plan where only Ukrainian troops must withdraw, or where territory is ceded unilaterally. What Ukraine has discussed is the concept of a buffer demilitarized zone in a negotiated framework, not an unconditional territorial concession. The Kremlin has responded to Zelensky's comments about holding a referendum on territorial issues. The Donbas is Russian, all of it. It's in the constitution, said Putin's aide Yuri Ushakov. Zelensky has until now opposed withdrawing his troops from the Donbas, and this is one of the demands the Americans are presenting to him. In any case, whatever the situation may be, this territory is part of the Russian Federation and will be governed by our administrations, sooner or later, he told journalists. According to Ushakov, the entire territory of Donbas will come under full Russian control, if not through negotiations, then by military means. Thanks for listening to Ukraine, the Dark and Light. Please like, subscribe, and share.